All right, so this is your notes for today. What I need you guys to do is you can either choose to take the notes on paper, or you can kind of just listen to it and then go back later and understand it. The most important thing is just making sure you understand it so that you can do the homework tonight. I'll go ahead and post the assignment on Google Classroom as well. All right, so just a quick review. We're talking about polygons and we're trying to figure out what the angles add up to. Currently, we're talking about the interior angles. So the first question we have, question number one, what is the sum of the angles of a 13gon? So we have to remember we have a 13-sided shape. So if we go back at our notes and we take a look at it, we know that anytime we have sides, what we do is we establish that that's our n. So we now know that n is 13 for this problem. So there are 13 sides. And if you recall, if there are 13 sides, then we can now say that there are 11 triangles. Remember, the number of triangles is going to be 2 less than the number of sides. And then if there are 11 triangles, then we can say that there is 11 times 180. So we can multiply the 11 times 180. This is going to give me 1,800 plus the 180. So this is me multiplying, so that's 11 times 180 right there. And this comes out to 1,980 degrees. So my answer is that a 13gon, the sum of the sides of a 13gon is equal to, and then this is the equation you can get from the textbook, is the number of sides, which is 13, minus 2 times 180, or 11 times 180, or is just equal to 1,980 degrees. Okay, so that's what we talked about on was it Wednesday? Another problem that you guys talked about or we discussed is something that kind of looked like this. So we'll take a look at it. What we're looking at here is a polygon with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 sides. So there are 6 sides, so n is equal to 6. Now our job is to figure out what x is. The problem is that we don't know what the angles add up to. So we have to remember, if there are 6 sides, then we're going to go 4 times 180. So the sum of the sides is equal to 4 times 180, or comes out to 720. So what this tells me is if I took all these sides, so if I took the first side, number 1, and I added it, 2x, and if I add it to the second side, or sorry, the angle, not the sides, the second angle, which is x, and then I add it to the third angle, which is 90 degrees, and then I added that one to the fourth angle, oh, there's nothing there. But see how it has that congruent symbol? Then we know it's congruent to this guy, so I can write another 2x, so that guy's going to be another 2x, plus the 150, the fifth angle, so the fifth angle is 150 degrees, and then finally add it to the last angle, angle number 6, which is 110 degrees. What I'll end up getting is the entire angles, the sum of the angles, all 6 of them, adding up to 720 degrees. So my job now is after I set that up is I want to essentially just solve it. So I'm going to go ahead and collect like terms. So I'm going to take this guy, this guy, this guy, and combine them. That's going to be a total of 5x plus. And then I'll add this guy to this guy to this guy. Now I can't add the 720 because he's on the other side of the equal sign. So I'll say equals 720 degrees there. And then I'll just combine these guys here. So the 90, the 150, and the 110. The 90 and the 110 actually makes the most sense to add together right now because they add up to 200. So it's going to be 200 plus the 150, so plus 350 degrees. So I have 5x plus 350 equals 720. We're going to subtract that 350 from both sides. And the result will be 5x is equal to, and then we have 720 minus 350, which comes out to, oh, sorry, so we have to do 1, borrow, put a 6, 370 degrees. Divide both sides by 5, and we get x equals, 5 goes into 37 7 times with a remainder of 2, 20, 5 goes into 24 times, so x is equal to 74. So I now know that angle 2 is 74 degrees. This angle here, angle 1, is going to be 148 degrees. And angle 4 is also going to be 148. And then when I add them all up, it'll come out to 720 degrees. So this is just review of what we did on Wednesday. Now, there's a second type of question that we didn't get a chance to take a look at, and that's what I'd like to look at right now, is that type of question. So that's what we're going to do first. Let me erase this guy here. Sorry, that didn't erase it. So we're going to take a look at that type of problem. So there is another type of problem I'd like us to take a look at. Just do it like this. Okay, so the second type of problem. Let's say that we have one angle. So a regular polygon has an angle that measures to 165 degrees. Question: how many sides does the polygon have? So essentially it's asking, what kind of polygon is it? Is it a hexagon? Is it an octagon? Is it a 12gon? What kind of polygon are we looking at? Now remember, the question, how many sides does the polygon have? Sorry, I put the word have in there. How many sides does the polygon have is essentially saying we need to figure out what n is. If we can figure out n, we're good to go. So what we want to think about is like what kinds of equations we can create with the n. And the first thing I'm thinking about is the angles. So what I know is that in a regular polygon, let's say we had a triangle that was regular, if all the angles were the same, then I could just say angle 1, this angle here, plus this angle here, plus this angle here, have to add up to what the angles add up to, right? So let's say I didn't know what this angle was, or I would just call it x. So then I have to say I take all three of the angles, multiply it by x, where 3 is the n value. And this would have to equal 180 times the number of sides minus 2, so 3 minus 2. Let's try this for another shape. What happens if we had a four-sided shape? Well, then we would have four angles, right? 4 angles added together. They would have to equal, so if we took all 4 of the angles, add them together, they would have to equal 180 times the number of sides minus 2. So this equation right here is the sum equation, but this also can find the sum. It just finds it in a different way. So what we have is we know that the angle is 165, and we know we have n sides, and that's what we're trying to find. So if I took the number of sides we have and I multiplied that by 165, this would equal s. It would equal all the angles added up. But the same thing can be said is that if we took n and we subtracted 2 from it and multiplied it by 180, this also will give us s. Notice we have two sides of an equation that we can solve. So this right here is another equation for s. So if we know that all the angles are the same, multiplying all the angles by the number of sides, right, because that guy's the number of sides, multiplying each angle by the number of sides that are in the shape should give us all the angles added together. The same thing is true about this equation, is that the number of sides minus 2 times 180 provides the same thing. So we're going to go ahead and solve this thing. We're going to distribute the 180 into the equation, and this gives us 180n minus 360 is equal to the 165 times n. We get 165n. We now want to solve this thing, so we're going to subtract the 165n from both sides, and this is going to give us 0 equals 180 minus 165, or 15n minus 360. We now need to solve this equation by adding 360 to both sides of the equation, and we get 360 is equal to 15n. Divide both sides by 15, and we find out that n, the number of sides, is equal to, I have to do some mental math on this guy here, so 15 goes into 32 times with a remainder of 6. 15 goes into 60 4 times with no remainder. So what this tells me is that we have a polygon with 24 sides. If you didn't get this, there is another example we'll do in the second video.